Old school vlog time while working on Skunkworks. That seems like an entirely appropriate thing to do. There it is behind me. If you guys don't know what Skunkworks is, it is a build project type ongoing case labs SMA8 thing that I've been working on since 2014. And it's gone through a ton of iterations. In fact, there's even a Skunkworks playlist down at the main page of the channel where you can see all the different iterations, and I'll be adding these videos to that work log as well. Skunkworks was also the name of a Lockheed Martin internal secret project for stealth fighter and stuff. So I just always thought the gunmetal gray and stuff on here looked very stealth fightery. So that's why we went with that. Anyway, with that said, pay the bills time. EK Waterblock's quantum torque fittings for PC liquid cooling include static extenders, rotary adapters, offsets, double rotary fittings, and micro series for all small form factor systems. With a wide variety of fittings, your loop building experience becomes much easier, quicker, and more streamlined. And all torque fittings come in 4 major finish options that will blend in with any setup. The standard nickel-plated versions, the special matte black, satin titanium, and fittings plated with real gold. With replaceable locking rings available in multiple colors and aesthetic color rings only available from EK, the customization options are almost endless. To see the full lineup of EK Waterblock torque fittings, follow the link in the description below. Okay, so what has changed since the last time we did a video on this? Let's see, I test booted this. There's some RAM in here. This isn't the RAM I'm gonna use, I don't think. I'm not a fan of this G-Skill with the sharp edges. It doesn't really go with this particular case and such, or this whole square aesthetic I got going on. But that was in there for the test boot. SSD shows up, which is right there. And then obviously the CPU boots and works, and I got post. So that's important before I plumb all that up. I didn't even need to run water to it. There's so much thermal mass to this water block that it just touching the CPU gave me enough passive cooling to be able to boot it up. And then when I was sitting in the BIOS for, I don't know, 60 seconds or so, it was at 60 degrees. So yeah, I mean, with no water flow through it, and the idle state of the GPU, it's fine. Same thing with like booting up a GPU when you don't have water going through it. But things have changed since last time. You can see them sitting right there. I talked about wanting to do a floating reservoir system in here, very a la Red Mist that I did for a friend of mine back in 2013, 13 or 14, something like that. Anyway, I did that with his build, and that was before ARGB was a thing, so it just had white LED behind it, and I liked the way that that looked. But because I have these old holes here from the previous pumps that I wanted covered up, is why I decided to do a floating, whole floating platform deal. You can see I added this grommet right here. This looks very suggestive. This is how I'm gonna pass through the RGB wiring and the RPM wires for the pumps, as well as the power for the pump. So I don't even have to depin or add a connector to them because they actually fit through that hole. So as you can see, I actually used water pump block or standoffs for like water pumps, not a motherboard, but this is just like Asetek mounting stuff. So it's threaded on both ends. It allows me to be able to thread the platform down to here. And then if we look at the other side, you can see I just used like the same thumb screws you would use to hold down a block on this side to hold it all down. So I don't care that these are sticking out the back, you're never gonna see it. But let's take a look at this here. Here is the ABS plastic platform that I made for my dual alpha cool pumps and reservoirs. I did paint it in the same SEM trim black paint that I use everywhere else in the case. The texture obviously still shows, but it took some of the shine out of it. In fact, let me get another piece of ABS so you can compare. It's kind of subtle, but if you look at them side by side, you can see the piece on the right is definitely more shiny. The piece on the left is definitely more dull, and that's what I wanted, so it matches the rest of the matte black that I painted in the system. These are actually these are floating as well, as you can see. I've got these spacers in there that are now mounted to this platform that I made. So they are off the back. And the reason for that is you can see right there, the wiring for the RGB is on the back side of the pump. So I had to have a space for that wire. In fact, let me show you the spacers that I used. I just ordered one of these spacer kits from WeGoop, whatever. It just has a whole bunch of different spacer sizes in it. This is very difficult to do one-handed. This is very old school style J video now. So you can see there's just a bunch of different spacer sizes. So I used these guys right here. That one is
12 millimeters. So 12 millimeter spacer. Initially I was gonna use this one. The problem is, they sat too far off. So anyway, that's what I used. It was like not even 10 bucks for this, and I got 2 of them. Let's look at the backside. Because of the fact that this does have RGB lighting, I also took some RGB strips, and as you can see, I just mounted them down around the perimeter of the piece right here. I didn't put any right here, and you can see I labeled F for front, so I know that that goes towards the fans, and then T for top, because obviously the orientation matters, B for bottom. And then what I did was, after I got my measurements and my spacing for the holes, I took my T-square and I measured the proper distance between the holes, the distance between each screw, and then I drew a square line all the way across so they'd be on the exact same plane, otherwise they could be off center. This is nothing more than just an ARGB splitter that I taped down on the backside. So I've got this kit, which came from Amazon, and it's a JST to standard RGB plug adapter there. So I've got 1, 2, 3 of those strips. These were cut down to size. And then these right here are the cables for the RGB coming off of the pumps right here. So I still have to hook these up and tape these down, and then I'm just gonna have one feed. This isn't even like a standard JST. As you can see right here, there's 2 tabs, or keys if you will. JST has a single one in the center, this has 2. So Alpha Cool made their own JST type of a connector. So let me get that wired up and I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll get it mounted. All right, and here it is mounted up. So I use these aluminum M3 screws that, I can't remember where I got them. Maybe they came from a test bench or something. They're just thumb screws to give a little bit of color accent. Because remember, I am gonna have titanium colored fittings on here. But also more importantly, I got these aluminum thumb screws for the motherboard right here. So I think it'll tie some of that in, because there is a lot of silver kind of going on the motherboard. So I wanted to tie some of that into the build. So this definitely helps having these on here like that. But now if you look in the backside right here, you can see the grommet and all the wires coming through it. So I've got 1 SATA power for a pump, as well as a, I don't even technically need to plug this in. I probably will, just to keep track of the pumps in case one dies. But this is just an RPM wire, as well as a PWM signal. So yeah, I guess I need to plug that in. It's PWM, I forgot. I tend to use manual pumps or non-PWM pumps most of the time, but obviously I didn't on this one. But here's the other grouping of that. Here's 1 ARGB plug coming off of the, so this one right here, this loose one is for the pumps. And then this one that has the extension on it right here, this is the splitter going to all the lighting around the perimeter of the thing. Forgot what it's called. My floating tray. All right, so a slight change. You'll notice there's only 1 RGB wire coming out of here now, because I was an idiot and already had the adapter on the back there and plugged in another one, and I was like, wait, between the pumps being daisy chained together, that should be 1, and then 3 strips is 4, and that was a 4 pigtail splitter. So why the heck did I not have an extra one? Well, it was taped down and I missed it. But anyway, so here we are, the 2 SATA powers, the extension for the ARGB, and then the 2 PWM wires. So now what I'm gonna kind of work on a little bit right now is getting some of this wiring sort of pre-routed and stuff. Because I chose to go Be Quiet fans and not something linkable, I got a lot of wires to deal with, and I'm not too concerned with that. On the back of Skunkworks, there's 1,000,000 square feet of room for wiring and such. I'm just gonna utilize a fan hub to have a place to hook fans up to. I'm gonna take a look at the fan/ARGB controller that comes with the ASUS board to add more ARGB spots or plugs, if you will, because there's only 1 on the motherboard. Like, there's only 1 ARGB on this motherboard. And the reason why they do that, it's right here on the bottom. And the reason why they do that is because they actually give you a breakout box that gives you 6 more ARGBs. So I'm gonna be utilizing that in this build, because I would like to be able to control zones independently for lighting. For fan control, I just need the bottom rads to be independent, the front rads to be independent for the reasons I've already said, not front fans to be independent for the reasons I've already said, which is to speed up these fans, slow down the exhaust fans, because 3 feeding 5 means I've got to make up for the CFM difference of 5 exhaust fans and 3 intakes, so I don't have a negative pressure situation. Speed these up, slow those down, get the balanced airflow.
Cable Mod's new StealthSense technology effectively eliminates the need for sense wires for your 40 series GPU. StealthSense features a hidden bridge which signals the GPU that a full 600 watts is available, all without the need for fragile sense wires that can easily be dislodged, leading to a black screen and 100% fans. To see the full spec list and power supplies supported, follow the link in the description below.
All right, so what I'm doing now is I've taken that control box. It's got 6 channels for ARGB, 6 channels for fans. And now I am trying to just sort of figure out the routing. So it's not pretty, as you can see. It's just a cluster of cables, which sucks when you have to do pigtail type stuff. But what I'm thinking about doing, and this is almost like an extra benefit of something I didn't even think about. If you look at these screws right here, you can see they're threaded in the middle. They're M3s. I'm thinking about just taking M3 motherboard standoffs and doing a cover like I did on the other side of the floating platform on this side to cover everything up that would just thread into that. Now you might be asking yourself, why not just thread it into this directly with a screw and have to use a standoff? Well, that's because the thickness of this box is taller than the thickness of this screw, so I'd have to space it out some more. So what I'm doing now, as you can see the top, and Nick is also going through all of our extensions and stuff to try and organize them because they just ended up over the years thrown in a box. The top still needs to be managed. The bottom still needs to be managed. And I'm gonna be using this guy right here, which is a powered fan hub. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Weird, odd number. Normally you would do like an even number. Anyway, it's 7 PWM fan splitters here that's got a SATA power to help power the fan, so it's not relying on just the header. And then it's got a PWM signal going here. This will be controlling the 6 bottom fans right here for the 140s on the bottom. And then the RGB is gonna have to be in a splitter like this, and then an extension brought up to here. So that's all I'm doing right now. Not a lot to vlog there, it's just boring. And then what I can do is I can actually get my power supply in here if I want to. I have my power supply and my Cable Mod cables. I'm still waiting on the distro plate though. That's supposed to be here tomorrow, and that's one of the things holding me up from really kind of getting this tied in. All right, so the backside, not all that pretty. Doesn't have to be. You can see I added some standoffs to this. So I'm gonna try and come up with a cover for this, not today. I'm gonna try and come up with a cover for this to cover all this madness. But it honestly doesn't matter what it looks like back here. It matters what it looks like from the front. But yeah, you just imagine like, you know, a cover back here. I guess I could have it go all the way up to here if I wanted. This is kind of in the way though, that long plug. I'm gonna have to change that. I just added a distro block up here for the fans. It's kind of hard to see. That's not a powered one. The 120s should be fine. It's not wood, but I knocked on it anyway. But yeah, I just think having a cover on this would look nice to just cover all this up. But I may not do it. I don't know. I have provisions to do it now if I want to. So as you can see, I've got my fan hub down there, and then it's just double-sided sticky tape down. Obviously I have to make sure I have room for my wire or my tubes and whatnot. I still don't know exactly where stuff is gonna be passing through the distro plate because I don't have it. It'll be here tomorrow. So I'll get to finally kind of mock that up. These fans are not RGBs, I don't have to worry about that. But these come off of an RGB splitter, which is down there. Well, actually they're daisy chained to each other. And then I have an extender coming off of that cable up into here. So all the RGB is coming through this box, which will be controlled by Aura. So I have one piece of software to control all my lighting, which is gonna be nice. So one thing I'm gonna do before I finish up today is remove these stickers. So you can see one of the center hub stickers has already been taken off. I'll be replacing these probably with some matte black stickers for our Cricut, but I have to order more material because we're out of vinyl. So I'll be taking all of these off. I have an audience, it's weird.
Yeah, you're gonna be taking all those off.
Your head perfectly blocks out Nick. There he is.
Good.
So I'm gonna have to do it right here as well too. You can see on the hubs on the back side that has the orange. These I'm not gonna take the sticker off, I'll just put the sticker over those. But it's nice because these stickers are recessed down in there. There's actually a little channel recess. So I measured that out with our calipers, that way I knew exactly what they were. So those that are wondering, this is exactly 30 millimeters across on the 120s, and the 140s is 37 millimeters across. So you can see what it looks like right now with the orange still on there. So let me go ahead and take those off, and then we'll look at it again. All right, and there we go. Without the orange stickers in the center, it looks a whole lot better. And then, like I said, I'm only gonna put matte black stickers on there. I'm not even gonna put any down here, honestly, but just to cover up the dimple, I'm Obviously with the 120s, there's the dimples and stuff. So one other thing I want to do right now before I end this video is I want to put some of my fittings on there just so I can see how the satin titanium is going to look against the gunmetal and the black. It looks like he's in love.
Hurry up.
I want to see it done. All right, so there it is with just some of the satin titanium fittings in there. It's gonna look real good. This is gonna be a tight area right here to try and get all the fittings and stuff plumbed and the tubing and whatnot. I might have to come up with something creative because I've got to get, so this is gonna be my out. It's in, but we're not using that there. We're using in on the top. So this is my out. Got to make it in here, out of here, into this rad, out of this rad to the top. So the GPU or the CPU loop is very, very simple. The thing is, it's kind of cluttered over here. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. That's not gonna be today, but anyway, this is what it's starting to look like. But we can definitely see Skunkworks is absolutely looking good. Definitely looking revived. I like it. And I still have a lot of fittings that I have to take off the other system. And I also need to get a silver cap for right there. I forgot to order a cap, the satin titanium, because obviously since I'm not returning it into here and I'm returning it to the top, I'm gonna have to do that. Oh wait, did this? Oh, that's actually really close. I was looking at this. The fitting, focus, almost overlaps on those other holes, which would have sucked because I need to be able to fill the loop, but I can still get those off, barely. This is what those look like right there. They're just a little plug. So I'd be able to get that plug off so I can fill up the system, obviously. If those had covered that up, that would have been a problem. So anyway, there you go. Not a very long video, but just kind of showing you some of the thought process and the steps along the way. Unfortunately, I dropped the fitting and scratched my black mid tray, but that's not a big deal because the distro plate's gonna be going there. Can't get the bottom loop figured out until I have the distro plate so I can see exactly where it's got to go down into the lower compartment and then where it's going to come back up. And I really, really, really hope where those fittings are does not interfere with where the radiators are because of the fact that, you're just backing out of camera?
Yes.
Just because of the fact that I don't want to, I mean, I can modify it. I can drill and thread the holes myself. But if I was to have Singularity Computers redo that, I would have to wait another couple weeks to get it from Australia. And I really don't want to wait too long to get the system together. Otherwise, another CPU might come out and then I might change my mind again. So I really hope not. This will end up next to the other builds I don't use. All right, gonna get out of here. I'll see how the distro plate looks tomorrow when it comes in. It's supposed to be delivered tomorrow. And then there won't be a whole lot left to do other than the loop. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.